Welcome guys, Adam here. I'm the founder at Media Engineer. Today we're going to be going through the YouTube Ads Mastermind. I'm going to be breaking down the ad creatives, doing a bit of a masterclass for you. And we've also got George from the paid search company, and he's going to be breaking down YouTube Shorts. Really excited for this. I've got George to give away as much juice as he can about YouTube Shorts. He's been doing some excellent results over there. So I'm really excited to share this with you. George, if you've got any words, and we can take it from here.
Yeah, cheers, Adam. Thank you for having me on. So always super excited to talk about Shorts ads. It's such a underrated placement because I think 99% of brand owners, they spend all their money on meta ads, but they can make a huge amount of ROI by recycling that creative over to YouTube Shorts, right? And obviously, Adam's going to talk a little bit about what creative is good to use in the first place. Should you be using UGC? Should you not? Etc. Etc. But yeah, exactly. So I'm very, very excited to kind of break down the strategies that we're using at the moment. We're managing probably around $100,000 a month in spend just on YouTube ads, specifically for e-commerce businesses. So yeah, excited to get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. Perfect. So as I said, I'm going to be breaking down the ad creative side of things. George takes over the media buying side of things. Both are as important as each other. Without one, the other falls short. So in today's masterclass, what we're going to learn is brand research. So actually understanding your target audience, doing the research before your creatives to ensure that you can, do the correct creative strategy. And that's when we're going to be talking about making ads that actually convert, types of ads, different creative concepts. And then after that, we're going to be looking at optimization, so how you can optimize your creatives once they're actually in the ad account to make sure you can learn every single month and keep on making new creatives. So this stuff actually works. I helped a fashion brand add around 116k in MRR to their business in 48 days. I also reduced the CPA of a DTC app by 50%. I've now formulated my own creative system and I've added it to multiple DTC brands, and they use these ads across multiple platforms including YouTube Shorts, Meta and TikTok. So the foundations to your creative success is going to be the research every single time. Your customers, your competitors' ads, your brand research, so what separates your brand from your competitors, and then also your previous ads. So customers, brand and competitors are all kind of theory, but then your previous ads are what you're going to be taking as gospel. So it's really important to look at your previous ads and learn from these every single month, make iterations of ads that are doing well, and kind of really get a good understanding of what's going to work every single month, just to make your MRR that little bit more predictable when it comes to your ad account. So then we'll go into the creative strategy side of things. And your creative strategy needs to be very strategic. I like to do a kind of scientific method for things. And I know George does the same thing in his media buying, because it's really important to have a strategy when you go into anything in marketing. So what we like to do at Media Engineered is we'll break down the angle that we're going to use, the framework we're following, and a little bit of reasoning why we're going to do that. And then we know that once we put these in the ad account and we strategically test them, and then we analyze the results, we can look back at the document and we can say, why did this work? Where can we learn from it? And how can we build from this? So some stuff will work and some stuff won't work. That's the nature of the game. And everything's not going to work every single time. So when you find something that doesn't work, don't just ignore it. Make sure you learn from that as well, because it's just as important. You can see, okay, my customers don't like this. Where can I learn? And it's the exact same with stuff that works as well. So there's a few different types of winning concepts. Now, they can be endless, to be honest, but some that I've seen working well on YouTube. Obviously, it's got to be very organic, just because of the nature of the platform. But product demo.
Yeah.
So
I'll jump in on that one, Adam.
Yeah, go on.
I very much agree with that. Yeah. So I think what we've seen is, you probably know this from TikTok, Adam, but like when someone's scrolling through their feed, obviously these are vertical portrait style creatives, and they're obviously scrolling through their organic posts. If they see some kind of like really high level studio creative, it's going to be a massive kind of contradiction from what they were just looking at, and it's going to kind of like break their sort of focus. It's going to make them very aware that they're watching an ad. So whenever we work with brands on YouTube Shorts ads, we always say make it as kind of organic as possible. Make it look like an organic video that they'd be seeing on their feed anyway.
Yeah, 100%. And like you say, it's very obvious when someone's scrolling on their phone if they've just come across an ad that's been recorded on a high quality camera that costs a few £1,000s versus just an iPhone. So it's really
Yeah.
important. The editing's not too over the top, and you're making it fit into your target demographic as well. So if you're targeting the older generation, for example, you're going to have slower ads, versus if you're targeting the younger generation where they're going to be high pace and so it's really important to tailor them exactly to who you're targeting. So
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, go for it, mate.
yeah, there's loads of different winning concepts, but to break down a few that I've seen working really well. Product demo, so highlighting your product in an engaging way, actually using the product. We also have testimonials, so this is just more of a natural view, where you might just have someone talking to the camera. Actually, you can take your website case studies, if you like, or reviews, if you have any that are kind of outstanding, and you can turn these into testimonial ads just by simply hiring a creator to expand on that review further, showing how your product has actually changed their life in a positive way. Unboxing ads, these are doing really well at the minute because they're just really authentic. The creator's going to give a authentic reaction to unboxing an ad. So if it's a food ad, an unboxing concept is going to work really well because they can try it and give their honest opinion. And then we also have loads of different trending concepts because everything changes all the time, and you'll see listicle articles, so like 3 reasons why are doing really well at the minute, and this is always changing. So if you go on the platforms and you see what's trending at the minute, see what ads are doing really well, then you can get some good concepts for your ads as well.
Yeah, I love all of those angles, man. For the case study that I'm going to break down in a minute, which is an 8-figure brand that we helped, we scaled very, very aggressively on YouTube Shorts. We were doing the product demos quite a lot. Basically, you'll see in a second, but they were they had like a durable kind of smartwatch product, and so every single creative that did. Pretty much every single creator that we tested was someone like trying to break the smartwatch and throwing it down and kind of like running it over with a car or something, which was like really, really entertaining. So I think people actually wanted to watch the ad, which meant that the view through rate was fantastic, which meant that quality score is going to get boosted, right? It's going to get shown more often by YouTube because YouTube sees that it's an engaging ad, so it knows that the user experience is going to be good. It's the same as like Google search ads. If people never click on your ad and never engage with it, then Google is going to be able to tell that is that ad's not giving a good user experience, right? Yeah. So it's the metrics are going to get way worse. So yeah, definitely just try and make your ads as entertaining as possible, because obviously that's going to lead someone to watch it all the way through and then get hit with the big CTA at the end.
Exactly, yeah, 100%, and that's kind of what we were touching on earlier. When you find something that works, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. You can analyze your ad account, and obviously what you did very well was you looked back at the previous months and you saw, okay, this product demo video is working really well, we want more of these next month, and you can just keep building off that. And you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can just keep making iterations and keep building from that. So some best practices in terms of your editing style for YouTube Shorts ads. So you always want to have an attention-grabbing hook. So as George will tell you, the first 5 seconds of a UGC ad is usually the most important and the most important to optimize first, because you could have the best last portion of the ad in the world, but no one's going to watch it if the first 5 seconds is boring. So we'll always try and optimize the first 5 seconds first. Of course, you need it to be in the vertical video format, or else it's just not going to be as effective. You want to be editing so it matches your customer's taste. As we said, different customers have different styles and different ways they like to intake content. So older generation isn't going to be looking at highly edited, highly fast-paced videos and going to be intrigued by that. They're going to need to have the content slower just so they can take it down. As well as that, we'll always cut to different visuals every 2 to 4 seconds just to keep it engaging. Now there's going to be scenarios where this doesn't happen if you're doing a testimonial ad or some kind of long form, but as a kind of blanket statement, we like to change visuals every 2 to 4 seconds to keep the ad engaging. As well as that, we want the subtitles to ensure that they are engaging subtitles, so you don't need to track every single word. And I sometimes see this just getting some automatic subtitles so every single word is tracked. It doesn't need to be that way. You can, especially in the hook, you can just put on some kind of headline at the hook as well, and it works really, really well. We also, a little thing that we have in the agency is no hotel lobby music. We want all music in our ads to be adding value in a way. So if you've got music in your hook, make sure it's edited in a way that's actually adding value, making people want to watch for longer rather than just having some kind of background music not doing anything. And then finally, we like to have a clear call to action. So we make it really clear what we want the user to do next, because if you don't tell them, they probably won't do it. Do you have anything to add to that, George, in terms of editing best practices for sure?
Yeah. Again, I just want to kind of reiterate that you want to make it as, exciting, entertaining as possible. I'm not a creative specialist, so I can't really, comment on the science behind it. But yeah, I fully agree with what you're saying here. Make sure there's regular cuts. Yeah, I'll break down, a little bit about, obviously, like I think some of the types of creative that we used for the client in question, the case study on my end. But yeah, I totally agree here.
Perfect, sounds good. So in terms of analysing your creative, so this is just as important as all the research, because everything beforehand is just theory. And once you actually put it in the ad account, then that's when it becomes gospel, if you like, and that's when you need to be kind of seriously looking at what's working. So something that we like to do is break down from a creative standpoint, is the ad working, yes or no? And then we can break it down further to why our ad is working. So some things we'll look for in terms of, is it actually getting results? Of course, cost per conversion, results and spend. So how much is each conversion costing you? How many conversions have you made, and how much spend is YouTube pushing to your ad? This is what we look at just to see whether it's actually working or not. But of course, we also want to learn why that's working. So we'll look at the impressions, click-through rate, conversion rate, cost per milli, interaction rate, hook rate, and hold rate. So what we can do with these metrics is we can start to almost Frankenstein some ads together. So if we see one that's got a good interaction rate, a good hold rate, however the hook's not doing so well, and people aren't watching it, for example, then we can start to put one that has a impressive hook and that hook's been working for a while. We can start to put those together. So this is where analysing your creatives becomes really important, because you can start to look at what ads are working, what isn't working, and what can you get from those ads without actually spending any more money and just getting an editor to simply swap some things around. So it's a really cost-effective way of doing it as well, and it's also crucial if you want to keep scaling your ad spend every single month. Is there any metrics that you think I've missed there, George?
I think that's pretty solid. I just wanted to ask you, what do you recommend for hooks? Because I feel like that's that's like the 80-20, isn't it? I mean, like if you can nail the hook down, like the rest of the ad will take care of itself.
Yeah, so in terms of the hook, I think it's really important that you actually target your target audience in your hook, because you can get kind of carried away, and I'll be honest, I got carried away with it myself when I first started making ads. And you can make trending ads, you can get the videos where a bull's running into someone and the person's going flying, and then it's your product on screen, and it works, it gets the hook rate, but then you've got a 13-year-old kid watching your video, not your target audience. So it's really important that in your hooks, yes, they're engaging, but you're engaging the right person. So yeah, targeted hooks, but also really engaging, so visually engaging. Can you get something bright on screen? Can you get something quirky, different? And then also audibly as well. Can you say something outlandish to your target audience? Call out a pain point. Recently, I've been seeing that bringing the product on screen straight away, sooner rather than later, is working better than how I used to do it in the past. So that's my kind of 80-20 of creatives in terms of the hook.
Yeah, awesome, man. Good to hear.
Perfect. So yeah, as I said, everything beforehand that we spoke about was theory, and you can have the best research you like in the world. You can do everything you want beforehand. Look at your competitors' ads. You can scrape the internet of reviews to kind of find out everything about your customers, but it is all theory. Once you actually put it into your ad account, that's the market's feedback, and that's where you need to be learning the most. So every single month, with our system, that's where we're going to be looking at, okay, what worked in your ad account and how can we build from this as well. So really important, as I've said, loads so far. The most important thing to do is just look inside your ad account and learn every single month, rather than just going off your research and creating fresh batches every single month. So yeah, if you're interested in me helping making these creatives to help you scale your DTC brand, let's chat. We can book a short call using the link below this video, and we can have a quick chat. We can see if this works for you. I can tell you all about my system and talk about how we can help you scale your brand in terms of ad spend with YouTube Shorts or any other platform that you'd like to use our creatives on. And now I'll hand it over to you, George.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah, any brand owners watching, highly recommend you go check Adam out. I'm actually going to divert from the old Gamma doc. I'm going to actually just whip up a YouTube ads masterclass that I made on Notion here. Now I'm going to give Adam full access to this, so he can put this in the description, and I'll put this in the description of my own video. But yeah, so specifically we're going to be talking about YouTube Shorts here, obviously based on what Adam's been talking about, and I wanted to kind of open things with just breaking down a quick case study. So we took an 8-figure brand, Njord Gear, Canadian smartwatch brand. This was the brand that I was talking about earlier, right? They sell these kind of like rugged, durable smartwatches for kind of hardworking, men who are outside all day, kind of construction, whatever it is. And we were able to get them these results here. So we took them from doing about 140k a month on Google to 500k a month. Now, a bit of a clarification if you're confused. YouTube ads and Google ads are the same thing, right? YouTube is just a part of Google. It's just the video ads within Google. So a lot of this revenue, now, while it wasn't all YouTube Shorts ads, but a lot of this revenue was actually contributed with YouTube. And YouTube is very, very scalable as well. I mean, as I kind of break down here, it is literally the world's second biggest social media platform. So 2.49 billion monthly active users. There's no two ways about it. You can scale very, very aggressively with YouTube ads, but there's just a few things that you've got to get right and a few things that you've got to bear in mind as well, which I'm going to break down here for you. So yeah, one thing that I observe, I mean, Adam, you can let me know if you feel the same way, but I feel like there's barely any 7 to 8 figure brands that are really leveraging YouTube, right? It's always Facebook ads, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I think it's a massive missed opportunity, and I think Google, they're trying to compete with TikTok, right? TikTok's got all of the market share, so they're really putting a lot of their resources and effort into YouTube Shorts. So it's a platform that's very much on the rise. So I think it's a fantastic place to put your money, your advertising dollars. And at the moment, the competition is very, very low. So the CPCs are cheaper, which is cost per clicks, which means your ROAS is going to look a lot better. Your creative is going to perform better, because there's just less saturation on the platform, right? So just another case study here. This was the first 90 days of actually turning on some YouTube Shorts for a European brand. We spent 23.4k and we produced 118k in sales. So that's nearly a 6x return on ad spend there. So yeah, YouTube ads are definitely worthwhile. Now, we're obviously, as I say, focusing on Shorts here, right? Most brands, it kind of makes the most sense to do that because they're already running a bunch of short form kind of portrait orientation UGC. There's not really, I'd say some brands have it, but the majority of brands probably don't have that kind of long form studio level creative on hand. Whereas you can literally just throw this UGC content onto YouTube and start running it, right? YouTube Shorts are sub 60 second long videos. And, obviously the main goal here is to engage the viewer, right? To catch their attention. And yeah, that's essentially what we're doing here. So a little bit about why you should run YouTube Shorts. I truly believe that the targeting is just light years ahead of TikTok, right? TikTok ads have been around since I think about 2020. So maybe 2021. So I think 3-4 years at the max. Whereas YouTube ads have been around for probably nearly a decade, I would say. And so, yeah, and as someone who runs a lot of Google ads, and both are, very similar, I know that Google's targeting is very, very, very good. It knows quite a lot of things about you, your search history, your YouTube subscriptions, right? It knows everything. So, the targeting is just fantastic on YouTube ads. I'm going to break down how you do your targeting in a second. But in terms of the volume, YouTube Shorts has 1.5 billion viewers every single month. There's 50 billion shorts viewed every single day. So there is without a doubt enough inventory there, right? So as I broke down earlier, obviously you want to be in my opinion, just as Adam says, getting the most for your money, right? So don't just put all the creative into Meta ads. You can put them into TikTok ads. You can put them into YouTube Shorts ads, right? And you're going to get different results. This is just kind of what I see, right? With Meta ads, you're going to see pretty low ROAS, but well, not low, but on the lower side, because there's just so much scale there. So brand owners typically their approach is just to kind of floor ROAS and just scale like crazy. Whereas YouTube, I think a better approach is, you're probably not going to get quite as much scale as you do on Meta, just because I don't know, it just seems to be the way of it. You're not going to get quite as much scale, but the ROAS is going to be very high because things are a lot more profitable, right?
It's like this new way of omni-channel marketing. I feel like everything's getting more saturated in every kind of market, every niche, and now is the time to be kind of reaching out into new platforms. It might not be as scalable, but if you don't do it, you're literally leaving money on the table. I know it sounds cliche, but you really are.
Yeah, absolutely. So jumping into the media buying now, I've got a couple of examples here and a couple of screenshots. But first things first, you're obviously going to want to have a Google Ads account, right? If you don't have a Google Ads account, then you can't really do much about that. So make sure you've got a Google Ads account. You're going to see the best results if you've already got a bit of data in your Google Ads account. We always recommend starting with the lowest hanging fruit first and then working up the funnel. Obviously, YouTube is as top of funnel as you can get, pretty much. So I would say, firstly, start with your branded search campaigns, your kind of high intent bottom of funnel Google Ads, Google search campaigns. Not going to cover that today, but you can go onto my channel. And I've got some sort of guides and tutorials on that. But once you're sort of getting, I'd say, at least about 30 sales a month. So you're getting one sale a day from Google Ads. That's a great time to jump into YouTube Shorts because you've got a decent amount of momentum, decent amount of data. And plus you don't really want to be using smart bidding if you don't have that sales volume because Google just doesn't really know who your customer is. Okay. So yeah, you're going to want to be creating a new campaign. You're going to want to make sure that the goal is sales. And then you're going to, now you can decide to actually set up the campaign without goals guidance, so you don't even have to pick the sales goal. And that's going to give you options to some kind of different bidding strategies like target cost per milli or target cost per view. However, we actually quite like to run max conversions actually as a bid strategy. It's very, very simple. It's obviously relying on smart bidding, which means that Google can basically bid for who it believes is going to convert. As I just mentioned, Google knows a lot more about your customer than you do. So I quite like this, and it's going to get a lot of data. It's going to get data quicker, which is just going to allow you to optimize the campaign faster, right? So yeah, then you obviously want to go ahead, name your campaign, right? So you want to make sure that you've got a consistent naming structure throughout your account. I recommend just starting with your best-selling product category. As I say, always start with the lowest hanging fruit. So if you know something's going to sell, or if you see something that's selling on search and shopping, then it was probably going to sell on YouTube, right? So say you sell jeans, and you know that your skinny jeans sell the best. Why don't you just go ahead and start a YouTube Shorts campaign with your skinny jeans? You're probably going to have the most creative there anyway, since you've been scaling it so hard on Meta. So it makes a lot of sense, right? You want to make sure you select your country and language targeting options, and then you want to go ahead and not apply a TCPA when you get to this section where you want to select your bid strategy. I do recommend max conversions, but I don't recommend that you actually apply a TCPA because you don't even know what your cost per acquisition is going to be on that campaign yet, right? So I always recommend starting on max conversions, giving it about 30 days, and then once you actually see what your CPA is, then you can set a TCPA, probably just above actually what your goal CPA might be, just to give the campaign a bit of wiggle room there. And then in terms of your budget, if you can't spend $50 a day on YouTube ads, then I just wouldn't bother. I would say you've got to actually have a minimum of $50 a day, for you to get any kind of significant data really. And then in terms of your budget, you should make that around 2 to 3 times your average CPA. Okay, so if you sell a sauna, for example, for $8,000 and your average CPA is like 200, well, if you're not, how can you expect to get a ton of sales running at like $10 a day? It's not going to happen. Whereas obviously if you're selling like a skincare product and your average CPA is, $10, then yeah, you could probably run on $20 a day, $30 a day, and that probably would work, right? Because technically that could get you 2 to 3 sales a day. So yeah, just think about budget in terms of your cost per acquisition, right? Now your cost per acquisition is going to start off higher when you start a fresh campaign, but as the campaign, progresses, it's going to get better and better, right? Now, one thing to keep in mind is you pretty much will be spending all of your budget every single day. Like YouTube loves to spend because, as I said, there is so much inventory there. There's so many eyeballs there. So just keep that in mind. Like you might have an issue with your Google search campaign or your PMAX not spending. YouTube is going to spend. So just keep that in mind. Now, yeah, then you want to basically go ahead and make sure that as you're going through the campaign flow, I think I've mentioned really the simple stuff. The only advanced setting that I would really advise you to kind of keep in mind is making sure that when you get to the campaign settings here, you click down onto additional settings and only target mobile phones. Now, this is, I think, something that people get wrong. Now, you can't actually run dedicated specific YouTube Shorts ads campaigns yet. You can just run YouTube in-stream campaigns, which are the ads that come onto your feed that you can click skip in 3 seconds, like the classic YouTube ads. But as I mentioned earlier, YouTube is incentivized to give the best viewing experience possible. So if you select the mobile phones only and you're running creative that is mobile orientation, then YouTube is just not going to play that on like a computer, right? It's not going to play that on a TV screen. It's not going to play that on a tablet. It's going to play that on mobile phones. And because it's playing it on a mobile phone, 90% of people who are watching YouTube or on a mobile phone are watching shorts. So it pretty much guarantees that like 90-95% of your creative will be shown on shorts, and that has been the case for all of our clients that we've run it for, because again it's just not going to really be any other way. So yeah, that's what we recommend. Now there is actually a way to run dedicated YouTube Shorts campaigns. You can start an efficient reach campaign. But that's like it, that's purely the problem I have with that is that you can't do like max conversions bidding. It's not a conversion focused campaign type. It's very much for reach and awareness, etc. It does allow you to only run ads on YouTube Shorts. However, as I say, you can't use those bid strategies that we quite like for kind of aggressive scaling. So we prefer this method. Make sure that you turn optimized targeting off as well. This is done in the ad group settings, so you won't see that option in the campaign setup flow. But once you launch the campaign, make sure to go to your ad group. I'm going to show you, what that looks like in a second, and then go to the settings there and turn optimized targeting off, because it will burn your budget at the start. And it is useless unless you have a ton of audience data in your account, okay? In fact, I think even at the scale where we were operating at with the watch brand, where we were spending probably about like at least $1,000 a day, at the very least $1,000 a day on YouTube Shorts, we were still not using optimized targeting because it will just go in all the different directions, right? We quite like very precise targeting. So when it comes to targeting, what do you want to do, right? So as you progress through the campaign setup workflow, you're going to get to the kind of targeting section here, and you want to create a new audience, right? So you've got a few options here. You've got custom segments, your data, interests and demographics, and then you've got things like exclusions and also other demographics here. Now, the bit you need to worry about the main ones are custom segments and detailed interest and detailed demographics. Now, your data is for remarketing, all right? And when it comes to YouTube Shorts, I highly recommend you separate campaigns. So if you want to run a YouTube Shorts remarketing campaign, which again we did for the watch brand and it worked extremely well, then you should make a separate campaign and only add your data in, because your data is just your remarketing stuff basically. So your website visitors, your abandoned cart audiences, your product viewer audiences, all of those things. If you don't have any of those set up, then like what you're doing, you need to make sure that you do that immediately, because you're just basically wasting money and not actually gathering any data on your customers. So immediately book a call with us if you don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, if you're trying to run a cold campaign, which is what we're doing here, that's the the scalable new customer acquisition focused campaigns. Then you want to go to custom segment, create a new segment, and I believe it'll prompt you to add in search themes. But search themes are essentially the same thing as keywords. You're basically going to want to add in just 10 to 15 of your best performing keywords. If you don't know what your best performing keywords are, then go to Google Keyword Planner, and then do some keyword research. Again, I've got another video on how to do that on my channel, but basically just pull 30 plus keywords that have a decent search volume. Okay, again, you can use platforms like Google Trends to analyze search volume, but Google Keyword Planner will tell you. Make sure that your keywords have at least over about 10,000 monthly searches. You could push it down to maybe 1,000 monthly searches, but I would say 10,000 monthly searches is the minimum. So add 10 to 15 of those in there. And then 3 to 5 in-market segments. So that's the interests and detailed demographics down here. That's your kind of audience-based targeting, right? Very similar to Meta. People who are interested in, I don't know, so say you're selling jeans, people who are interested in fashion and jeans and, women's clothing, things like that, right? Exclusions. So you can actually go ahead and exclude your own remarketing data if you want this to be a completely cold campaign, which we do recommend. So you can go ahead and just exclude your website visitors and your abandoned carts and all those things. And then the demographics, this is to do with excluding big kind of demographics like men, women, age range, things like that. Household income, I believe, as well, if you have that data available to you in your account. So if you're selling a women's necklace, then maybe exclude men. Use your common sense there. But so obviously, as I say here, don't include your remarketing because we're setting up a cold campaign. Cold and warm should be separated into different campaigns. So another tweet by me here. YouTube ads are printing. No clue why most D2C brands aren't leveraging them. We'll do one YouTube Shorts cold, one YouTube Shorts remarketing. And then we might do one YouTube awareness campaign, whether that's a YouTube Shorts efficient reach campaign or a YouTube long form like awareness campaign. I don't know, Adam, if you see like the ads that Whoop do. I think Whoop had 8 Sleep, like some of these awesome brands that do like that kind of really long form awareness based creative. It's not very salesy. It's literally just trying to show off the product.
Commercial type of ad.
Yeah.
In eyes.
Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic for awareness. That's quite a high level. I'm just not necessary really. I would highly recommend just starting with just cold and remarketing. But if you have that kind of creative, then you can go for that, and it will work quite well.
I've got a question in terms of the targeting.
Yeah.
You clearly go very much into targeted, going into the different segments and demographics, exclusions and stuff like that. I know on meta ads, broad is kind of the theme, and it's kind of been prominent the last few years, with interests, the targeting being less and less effective. How is the targeting on YouTube Shorts, and do you ever use broad?
Broad doesn't really exist, in my opinion, on YouTube Shorts. Like, I think I would say no, not really. Like, it's I think with Meta, the reason that you can go broad, if I'm not mistaken, is because you're using Advantage Plus, which I believe directs a lot of your targeting. YouTube, you don't really have that. Now, you could argue that optimized targeting is kind of the same thing within YouTube. But from what we've tested, like optimized targeting on versus optimized targeting off always beats this. And we've done A/B tests at, very high levels, when it comes to YouTube ads with that. So I would say the opposite. I think for YouTube, because it is not quite as advanced as Meta in a lot of aspects, I would say no. I would go the opposite way. I would go more narrow with your targeting. So actually following the rules here, and not the rules, but the suggestions here, putting the keywords in, putting the in-market segments in. Yeah, that performs the best in my eyes.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's go.
Awesome, mate. Yeah. So then you're creating the ad group at this point. So I do have a full video going through the whole campaign workflow. I thought I wouldn't include that here just because I kind of want to just touch on the key bits, but you can watch that on my channel if you are interested in a bit more detail. But you want to be adding 3 to 5 creatives per ad group so that you can find a winner, right? Again, you can listen to Adam here in terms of the metrics that you want to be testing. Just scroll back and kind of look at what he said in the video because that's all very relevant stuff. Have multiple creatives per ad group. I would say wait for each creative to amass at least 1,000 impressions. If you're seeing that one creative is getting all of the impressions, then maybe you could try splitting the creative out into different ad groups. And then I think the question kind of becomes, okay, how do you want to structure ad groups? So I quite like to, because the all of this targeting stuff is at the ad group level, okay? You could have different ad groups with different targeting in them. You could do that. So you could have one that's like just keywords and one that's just audience based, and then one with different audiences and different keywords. What we found is that I quite like to just go with very reliable targeting and duplicate. Well, that's not a word, but kind of like repeatable targeting, right? So having the same keywords, the same in-market segments in each ad group, and the variable should be the creative, not the targeting. I think having different ad groups per creative theme is a better way to segment the ad groups rather than having it per audience. Because then how can you test creative? Because the audience targeting is different, Yeah. So
if you take it back to science, back when we were in secondary school, you can only change one variable and to make it a fair test. So that's 100%, it. I agree with that.
That's it, mate. Yeah. I learned that in year 8 biology, so it is true. So that's what I would say. I think keep the targeting the same in your ad groups, and you can have, in the cold campaign we were running for that 8-figure brand, I think we had up to like 10 different ad groups, and we were just targeting different creative themes. So basically, what do I mean by creative themes? I mean product demos in one ad group, UGC unboxing in another ad group, even to the extent where we were separating ad groups by UGC creator. We had narrowed it down so far that we found the best performing creators, and we literally had an ad group per UGC creator, right? So that's the kind of level where we're getting at.
Yeah.
And then in terms of optimization, I've also got a full kind of checklist here, which I'll give to Adam, and I'll put below in this description here, which is going to go into some pretty good detail there as well. But yeah, there's a few things you can do. So you want to make sure that you have limited inventory within your content suitability settings. So in your account, you can go to tools and settings, content suitability, go ahead and set that to limited. Also make sure that you exclude like showing your ads on live stream videos or embedded YouTube videos on other people's websites. That's just going to be extremely low quality traffic. Then you want to go ahead and analyze the performance metrics. So YouTube, the metrics are a little bit different. Google likes to kind of put their own spin on things. It's a bit different from what Meta is, but you've got things like view rate, so who actually viewed your ad, out of the people that saw it, so impressions to view, and I think a view is anything past I think it's 3 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got click-through rate, obviously, so the percentage of views that led to clicks. And people viewing your ad is great, but if they're not clicking on it, what's the point? Like, your CTR has to be in KPI, otherwise you're probably showing your ad to the wrong audience. That, again, they might be entertained by your ad, but they also might be 13 and have no money, so you've got to optimize for that. Conversion rate's important as well, so from the click, how many of those clicks converted into a purchase, and obviously your CPA, how much are you paying for a purchase. Your CPC is important as well, but as I say, CPCs are relatively cheap on YouTube, so that shouldn't be an issue. You can also check your demographics as well within the ad group. If you go to your ad groups in YouTube ads, you can see, if you go to audiences, you'll be able to see mobile, firstly, well, you should only be bidding on mobiles, but you'll be able to see kind of the age range that's clicking on and performing on your ads, gender, location, all that stuff, as well as also the specific audiences you target. So, people who love jeans, they're converting like crazy, obviously, but people who maybe went for a bit of a left field audience targeting, when you were like, I don't know, maybe gardeners might like my jeans, but they're not converting, then you need to get them out. You can add bid adjustments as well to your video ads, so you can basically tell Google to bid like 10% more for certain people. It's got to optimize things a little bit there. And then, obviously you want to optimize your creative. Again, I'm not the expert here, but make sure you listen to Adam. So look at your CTR, your interaction rate, your conversion rate, conversions, cost per conversion. Why is the creative beating others? And then once you've found that, you want to scale the campaigns, right? So sometimes you might even want to, as I say, creative should be the variable. And if you find a creative that just crushes, probably get it into its own ad group. Why? Because you can set at the ad group level specific target CPAs, right? So this is a huge thing. So if you find a creative that's crushing it, you can put it into its own ad group. You can set a TCPA that's very low, maybe just above your break even, and you can just scale that to the moon, because that's going to allow Google to throw more spend at it, and you're going to scale it. Whereas obviously creative that isn't performing so well, you want to set your TCPA a bit high on that, so you make sure you actually profit, right? So it's kind of similar to Facebook ads in that respect. And then, that's pretty much it. You want to make sure you're making 10 to 20% increases on budget every single week. And also, potentially moving around the TCPAs at the ad group level, right? And then, that's pretty much it. I've got a creative here, a list here to kind of sum it all up. Make sure the campaign goals, sales, got solid campaign naming structure, targeting your best-selling product category, using max conversions, setting your budget to 2 to 3 times your CPA. That should be, not your AOV. AOV is a bit more aggressive, so that's fairer, but I'd say CPA is probably the best thing to do there. Adding in your site links as well, so that's basically gonna, at the bottom of the YouTube video, gonna give you options to go to specific places on your website. Excluding all devices other than mobiles, turning optimized targeting off, adding in your targeting, adding in your creatives, writing in the ad copy as well. So obviously it's not just the video ads, you've got to have the headline and the description in there. That's all done at the ad group level. And then just outside of the YouTube ads campaign, in your overall campaign settings, making sure you're setting your inventory to limited, so you're not showing on like dodgy YouTube videos, and also excluding irrelevant content types like live streams and stuff like that. So that's it.
Some solid advice there.
Yeah. I can ramble, can't I?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to go through, especially with the media buying things. There's lots of stuff there where if you missed through like the optimized targeting, you might not know the right or wrong there. And there's many things there that with just little settings, which really are like a massive difference. So yeah, some real good value in there. I really appreciate that. I think we're going to get some sick value from that. So I really appreciate it, brother. Do you have anything to add towards the end of that?
Well, no, honestly, I mean, we only work with brands that are doing, 7 figures really at the moment. So if that's you, go ahead, book a call with us. We'll scale you up. But if not, just enjoy the value for free, and definitely work with Adam because he's going to get you to that level with the creative. And yeah, we always recommend Meta first as well to kind of get to that level, and then Google becomes extremely effective once you're at that kind of like 50K a month plus range. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Is there a type of specific niche that you think is the most effective for YouTube ads?
Great question. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be doing like high ticket e-commerce here. Like I wouldn't be selling like, multiple $1,000 AOV products. But outside of that, I would say, we see the most success with technology, health and wellness, and fashion. I think those are the 3 main niches that we've spent on and tested with YouTube Shorts, and they've worked really, really well.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I've seen as well. I think those products and those niches really lend themselves to UGC as well. So yeah, if you've got any questions or anything, feel free to hit me up on Twitter or leave a comment. I'll get back to you. Any Google Ads questions, any Google Ad advice, George is your man for DTC ecom brands. He's got some absolutely crazy case studies. I can't recommend you going over to his website, check out his VSL, and check out some of his results. Really good results.
Cheers, mate.
And yeah, I really appreciate you watching. And if you've got any questions in terms of the ad creative sides of things, just book a call with me and we can go through building my creative system into your brand. So George, thanks again. Really appreciate the call.
Cheers. And subscribe as well to Adam and to me.
Yeah.
I want more subs.
Subscribe, like and subscribe.
Cheers. All right, cool.